Summer dinners in America once meant families gathering around tables filled with dishes that no restaurant serves today and no cookbook includes anymore. These weren't trendy foods that went out of style. They were beloved staples that disappeared so quietly that most people never noticed they were gone. Number 19 on this list cost almost nothing and fed a whole family from a single garden row, and most people under 50 have never tasted it. And number 1 was the summer supper that showed up on every picnic table and porch in America. The meal whose smell alone could take you straight back to a July evening. Hit that subscribe button and let us count down 25 forgotten summer dinners that deserve to be remembered. Fried green tomatoes. Here is the summer supper that turned the tomatoes that would not ripen in time into the best bite on the table. Slice firm green tomatoes thick and salt them. Dredge each slice through flour, beaten egg, and seasoned cornmeal. Fry them in a hot cast iron skillet in a ½ inch of grease until the crust turns deep gold on both sides. Drain and salt while hot. The crust shattered. The tomato inside stayed tart and firm, tangy against the crisp cornmeal. Fried green tomatoes were the southern summer answer to a garden overflowing with fruit that could not all ripen at once. Why let a green tomato go to waste when it could be supper? Today, they show up on restaurant menus at fancy prices. In a 1960s summer kitchen, they were simply what you did with the garden's overflow. Cucumbers in vinegar. Here is the cooling little supper dish that lived in every icebox all summer long. Slice cucumbers and sweet onions paper thin and lay them in a bowl. Pour over a dressing of white vinegar, a little sugar, salt, and a splash of water, and let them sit for hours until the cucumbers turn slightly translucent and the dressing goes sharp and sweet at once. They came out cold, crisp, and tangy. The onions mellowed and the cucumbers snapping between your teeth. Cucumbers in vinegar cost almost nothing. Cucumbers came by the bushel from the garden. Onions were always in the house, and the vinegar and sugar cost pennies. On a hot night, nothing on the table was more refreshing beside a plate of cold meat. It was thrift and relief in one bowl, and most kitchens have forgotten it. Wilted Lettuce Salad. Here is the supper salad that used the very first tender lettuce of the season and a splash of scorching bacon grease. Tear fresh leaf lettuce and green onions into a bowl. Fry bacon until crisp and the grease is screaming hot. Then pour it directly over the raw greens so they wilt on contact. Add a splash of vinegar to the pan and pour that over too. Crumble the bacon on top and eat it immediately, while warm. The greens went silky and soft, the hot bacon dressing tangy and rich against them. Wilted lettuce was the taste of early summer in country kitchens, using the first thing the garden gave. It turned a humble bowl of leaves into something warm and savory. Most people have never tasted a salad served hot, and they are missing something wonderful. If these summer suppers bring something back, hit subscribe. This channel keeps these forgotten meals alive. Now, back to the table. Cold fried chicken. Here is the summer supper that was cooked in the cool of the morning and eaten cold in the heat of the evening. Soak cut-up chicken in buttermilk, dredge it heavy in seasoned flour, and fry it in cast iron until the crust goes deep mahogany and shatters. Then let it cool completely, cover it, and set it in the icebox until supper time. Cold, the crust stayed crisp, and the meat went firm and savory, somehow even better than it had been hot. Cold fried chicken was the genius of the summer kitchen. You fried it before the day turned hot, and it was ready for the porch, the picnic, or the riverbank hours later. It was the centerpiece of every summer outing in America. A cold drumstick eaten under a shade tree is a memory a whole generation carries. Salmon patties with fresh peas. Here is the light summer supper that paired a pantry can with the garden's first peas. Flake a can of pink salmon, bones and all, and mix it with beaten egg, minced onion, and cracker crumbs. Fry the patties golden and crisp. Serve them beside a bowl of fresh-shelled peas, cooked just until sweet and tender, with a little butter. The patties crackled, the peas popped sweet, and a squeeze of lemon tied the plate together. Salmon patties and fresh peas was a light, quick supper for a warm evening, when nobody wanted a heavy meal or a long time at the stove. The peas came straight from the garden in early summer, shelled on the porch by the whole family. It was simple, cheap, and perfectly suited to the season. Tomato sandwiches. Here is the summer supper, so simple it barely counts as cooking, and so good that people wait all year for it. Slice a ripe, warm summer tomato thick. Spread 2 slices of soft white bread with a generous layer of mayonnaise. Lay the tomato on, salt it well, add a good crack of pepper, and press the sandwich together so the juice soaks into the bread. It came out dripping, the tomato sweet and acidic, the mayo rich, the bread going soft with juice. The tomato sandwich was the reward for a summer garden, eaten standing over the sink so the juice would not ruin your shirt. It could not be faked out of season. A winter tomato makes a sad, pale imitation. For a few weeks each summer, it was the best supper in America, and most people have forgotten to wait for it. Hush puppies. Here is the golden little supper companion that legend says was tossed to the dogs to keep them quiet. Stir cornmeal, flour, egg, buttermilk, and minced onion into a thick batter. Drop spoonfuls into hot oil, often the same oil the catfish fried in, and cook until they puff up round and turn deep golden brown. They came out crunchy outside, soft and oniony inside, savory and hot. Hush puppies were the inseparable partner of the summer fish fry, and the name, the story goes, came from cooks tossing the fried bits to hush the barking dogs. They cost almost nothing, just cornmeal and an onion, and they turned a fish fry into a feast. Outside the South, most people have never had a real one. Corn on the cob, fresh picked. Here is the summer supper that had a rule. You did not pick the corn until the water was already boiling. Shuck fresh, sweet corn and drop the ears straight into a big pot of boiling water for just a few minutes, until the kernels turn bright and tender. Roll each ear in butter, sprinkle it with salt, and eat it hot off the cob with both hands. The kernels burst sweet and milky. The butter ran down your chin. The salt made it sing. Fresh-picked corn was the taste of high summer, and the old-timers swore the sugar in it began turning to starch the moment it left the stalk. So it went from garden to pot in minutes. A whole family ate it by the armload at the peak of the season. The supermarket ear, picked days ago and shipped cold, is a pale ghost of it. Here is what nobody tells you about the forgotten summer dinner. It was not planned in a cookbook. It was dictated by the garden and the weather. In the summers before air conditioning and year-round supermarkets, the American cook did not choose the menu. The season chose it for her. When the tomatoes came in, you ate tomatoes. When the corn was ready, you ate corn until you could not look at another ear. When it was 90 degrees at 6 o'clock, you cooked fast and light, or you cooked in the cool of the morning and ate cold at night. That is why these dinners look the way they do. Fresh, quick, cold, and built around whatever the backyard was giving that week. We did not lose these meals because they stopped tasting good. We lost them when the garden gave way to the grocery store and every food became available every month. The countdown continues. Chilled cucumber soup. Here is the number 8 supper that surprised everyone. A soup served stone cold on the hottest nights of the year. Peel and seed cucumbers and blend them smooth with sour cream, a little chicken broth, fresh dill, a clove of garlic, and a squeeze of lemon. Chill it in the icebox for hours until it is almost as cold as the bowl. Pour it into cups and serve it cold. It came out cool, creamy, and bright, the cucumber clean and the dill fresh on the tongue. Cold soup surprised people who thought soup had to be hot. But it was the perfect answer to the question every cook asked in July. How do you feed people without heating up the kitchen? Made the night before, it let the icebox do all the work. It vanished because cold soup never quite made sense to American tastes. It should have. Ham salad on summer bread. Here is the light summer supper that used up the last of the ham and asked nothing of the stove. Grind leftover ham with sweet pickle relish, a spoonful of mustard, and enough mayonnaise to bind it into a spread. Pile it onto soft bread with a leaf of crisp garden lettuce and a slice of tomato. The filling was smoky and sweet, the relish tangy, the whole thing cool and satisfying on a hot night. Ham salad was thrift in its purest summer form, the tail end of a ham reborn as a cold supper that needed no cooking. On a July evening, a plate of ham salad sandwiches and a pitcher of iced tea was a full meal. It fed families off the back porch for pennies, and the homemade version has quietly slipped away. Skillet Squash and Onions. Here is the supper that made a virtue of the one vegetable every garden produced in impossible amounts. Slice yellow summer squash and onions thin. Cook them down slow in a cast iron skillet with butter or bacon grease, salt, and pepper until they collapse into a soft, sweet, golden tangle. The squash went meltingly tender, the onions caramelized at the edges, the whole skillet sweet and buttery. By midsummer, the squash plants gave more than any family could eat, and every country cook had a way to use it up. Fried squash and onions was the simplest and best, humble, cheap, and endlessly comforting. It fed the family through the great squash flood of every July. Most people today would not know to make it, and that is a small tragedy. Fried okra. Here is the summer supper side that got eaten straight off the draining paper before it ever reached the table. Slice fresh okra into rounds. Toss it in buttermilk, then dredge it through seasoned cornmeal until every piece is coated. Fry it in a hot skillet in bacon grease until deep golden and crisp. Salt it the second it leaves the oil. The cornmeal crust crunched. The okra inside went sweet and tender. None of the slick that scared people off. Fried okra was the popcorn of the southern summer, picked at and fought over, gone before supper was served. The garden made too much okra every single July, and this was the best answer to it. Some things, the more you make, the faster they vanish, and fried okra vanished fastest of all. Cold ham and potato salad. Here is the classic summer supper plate that showed up at every picnic and porch table in America. Slice cold baked ham thin. Beside it, pile a potato salad of boiled potatoes, hard-boiled egg, celery, onion, mustard, and mayonnaise, chilled until cold. Add a few slices of garden tomato, and you had supper. The ham was salty and cool, the potato salad creamy and tangy, the tomato bright against both. Cold ham and potato salad was the make-ahead summer supper, cooked in the morning, chilled all day, and served without turning on the stove at supper time. It traveled to every reunion, every church picnic, every 4th of July. It was the taste of a summer gathering, and while potato salad survives, the whole cold ham and side supper has faded from everyday tables. Green beans with new potatoes. Here is the summer supper that simmered the garden's beans low and slow with the first small potatoes. Snap fresh green beans and drop them in a pot with a piece of salt pork or bacon. Add small new potatoes, cover with water, and simmer until the beans go tender and silky and the potatoes soak up the pork-rich broth. The beans tasted of smoke and summer, the little potatoes creamy and savory, the pot liquor begging to be sopped with cornbread. Green beans and new potatoes was the taste of the early summer garden, cooked in one pot on the back of the stove. It was humble, cheap, and deeply satisfying. The kind of supper a family ate straight through July. Modern cooks blanch their beans crisp, but this slow, silky, southern way is the one worth remembering. Here is the secret almost nobody talks about, and it explains why these summer dinners feel so different from winter food. Before the modern kitchen, summer cooking was designed around one enemy: heat, and the food that spoiled in it. There was no air conditioning to make a hot kitchen bearable, and the icebox, a real box with a block of ice in it, could only keep so much cold for so long. So the summer cook became an expert at food that did not need much cooking and did not spoil in the warmth. Vinegar dishes that kept without refrigeration. Fried foods cooked in the cool morning. Cold suppers made ahead. Fresh garden produce eaten the day it was picked before it could turn. That was the hidden logic of the whole summer table. A way of eating built to beat the heat and the spoilage, dressed up as tradition. Then the refrigerator and the air conditioner erased the problem entirely, and the clever seasonal cooking that solved it was simply forgotten. The countdown continues. Succotash. Here is the summer supper that put the season's two best crops in one pot. Cut fresh corn off the cob and combine it with lima or butter beans, a little water, and a pat of butter. Simmer gently until the corn is sweet and tender and the beans are soft. Then finish with cream or a bit more butter and plenty of salt and pepper. It came out sweet, creamy, and full of late summer garden flavor. Succotash came down from the native peoples of the land long before the settlers, and by the mid-century it was simply a summer side, the taste of corn and beans at their peak, grown together and cooked together. Two crops, one pot, 1,000 years of wisdom. Fried catfish. Here is the summer supper that came straight from the afternoon's fishing. Soak catfish fillets in buttermilk, then dredge them in seasoned cornmeal. Fry them in a hot skillet or a kettle of oil until the crust turns deep gold and crisp and the fish flakes white inside. The cornmeal crust crackled, the fish steamed sweet and tender, and a squeeze of lemon woke it all up. Fried catfish was the summer fish fry, cooked outdoors on a hot day so the kitchen stayed cool, often right by the river or lake where the fish was caught. With hush puppies and coleslaw on the side, it fed a whole crowd for the cost of an afternoon's fishing. The community fish fry was a summer institution, and it has grown rare. Stuffed tomatoes. Here is the summer supper that turned the season's biggest, ripest tomatoes into the whole meal. Hollow out large, ripe tomatoes. Fill them with a cold salad, tuna, chicken, or egg salad bound with mayonnaise, or a savory rice and herb mixture. Chill them and serve them cold on a leaf of lettuce. The tomato was sweet and juicy, the cool filling rich against it, the whole thing bright and refreshing. Stuffed tomatoes were the summer luncheon and light supper dish, a way to show off the garden's proudest fruit at its peak. It was pretty enough for company and cool enough for July. The big beefsteak tomato, hollowed and filled and served cold, was a summer centerpiece, and it has nearly vanished from home tables. Cold sliced tongue and tomatoes. Here is the summer supper that would clear a modern table and once fed a whole family cheaply through the heat. Simmer a beef tongue for hours in the cool morning until fork tender, then peel it and chill it. At supper time, slice it thin and cold and serve it with sliced garden tomatoes and a little horseradish sauce. The tongue was silky and rich, cool from the icebox, the tomatoes bright and acidic beside it. Cold sliced tongue was proudly eaten across immigrant and working-class America, a cheap cut cooked ahead in the cool of the day and served cold at night. With summer tomatoes, it made a light, elegant, hot weather supper. We decided the cheap cuts were beneath us and lost one of the most flavorful cold suppers there was. Fried squash blossoms. Here is the summer supper delicacy that came from the part of the garden most people threw away. Gather the male blossoms from the squash plant in the cool of the morning. Dip them in a light batter of flour, egg, and milk, and fry them in hot oil until they turn golden and crisp and delicate. They came out light as air, the blossoms sweet and faintly of squash, the crust shattering at the touch. Fried squash blossoms were the thrifty gardener's summer treat, free food from the flowers the plant produced in abundance. Italian and country families alike knew the secret. It felt like eating something rare and delicate, though it cost nothing at all. Almost nobody harvests the blossoms anymore, and this fragile summer supper has nearly disappeared. Cold beet and egg salad. Here is the ruby red summer supper that stained everything it touched and tasted like the season. Boil garden beets until tender, slip off the skins, and slice them. Fold them together with sliced hard-boiled eggs and thin-sliced onion, and dress them in a sweet and sour vinegar dressing. Chill until cold. The eggs turn pink from the beets. The beets were earthy and sweet, the eggs creamy, the dressing sharp and cool. Cold beet and egg salad was a Pennsylvania Dutch and Midwestern summer staple, made from the garden's beets and served cold from the icebox. The pink-stained eggs were half the fun. BLT supper. Here is the summer supper that waited all year for one thing, a truly ripe tomato. Fry bacon until crisp. Toast soft white bread and spread it with mayonnaise. Layer on cold, crisp lettuce and thick slices of a warm, ripe garden tomato. Then the bacon. Cut it on the diagonal and serve it with a cold drink. The bacon crackled, the tomato ran with juice, the mayo tied it together, the lettuce snapped. The BLT was the sandwich supper of high summer, and it could not be rushed or faked. It demanded a real tomato at its peak. For a few glorious weeks each year, a BLT and a glass of iced tea was the finest light supper in America. Homemade ice cream supper. Here is the summer supper that turned dessert into the whole evening's event. Cook a custard of egg yolks, sugar, cream, and real vanilla, and chill it. Pour it into the canister of a hand-cranked freezer packed with ice and rock salt. The children cranked in shifts as the adults took over when it got stiff, until the lid came off and someone dipped the first soft spoonful. It came out dense and rich and cold, softer than any store carton, tasting purely of cream and vanilla. Making ice cream was a summer ritual that gathered the whole family on the porch on a Sunday afternoon. The cranking, the waiting, the reward. It was the dessert everyone worked for together. The electric maker and then the store carton erased the labor, and with it, the gathering. We got convenience and lost the event. Drop a comment and tell me which of these your family made in the summer. Tell me what came off your grandmother's garden and onto the supper table, what state you grew up in, and whether you still eat this way when the tomatoes come in. And tell me this, in your house, was summer supper all about the corn or all about the tomatoes? I want to know which side wins. The generation that ate with the seasons, straight from the garden, on the porch in the long evening light, knew something about food and time that no supermarket will ever sell. Plant a tomato. Ask them how they did it. Write it down. Eat outside this summer. Hit that subscribe button. There is a whole lost world of forgotten American food still waiting for us to find it. Beanie weenies. The can would pop open with that familiar sound, and Mom would dump the whole thing into a saucepan. Pork and beans with little hot dog pieces, already mixed in. It was convenience cooking before convenience cooking was cool. She'd heat it up on the stove, stirring occasionally until it was bubbling hot. The sweet bean sauce would coat those little hot dog rounds, creating a perfect balance of flavors. You'd eat it with a spoon, making sure to get beans and hot dogs in every bite. It was simple, filling, and somehow always hit the spot on those busy summer nights when nobody wanted to spend much time cooking. 7-layer salad. This potluck queen ruled every church supper and family reunion with its rainbow of ingredients stacked high in a glass bowl. Lettuce, peas, bacon, cheese, and hard-boiled eggs created a visual feast that impressed every guest. The mayonnaise dressing sealed it all together, keeping everything fresh until serving time. Each layer told a story. Crisp iceberg lettuce, sweet frozen peas, smoky crumbled bacon, and sharp cheddar cheese. Kids loved digging down to discover each colorful layer, while adults appreciated how it could feed a crowd without much fuss. The key was letting it sit overnight, so all those flavors could meld together perfectly. Every bite delivered something different, making it impossible to get bored. Shish kebab, the ultimate backyard showstopper that turned every dad into a grill master. Those colorful skewers loaded with tender beef, sweet bell peppers, and onions created the perfect bite every single time. Kids would fight over who got the end pieces, while parents debated the secret to perfect marinade. The smell of meat and vegetables sizzling over hot coals meant summer had officially arrived. Threading those ingredients onto metal skewers felt like art class, but the payoff was pure magic. Every family had their own special touches. Some added mushrooms, others swore by cherry tomatoes. The anticipation while they cooked was almost unbearable, especially when that first kebab came off the grill perfectly charred and juicy. Taco salad. Long before Chipotle existed, this Tex-Mex creation satisfied our craving for south-of-the-border flavors right at home. Ground beef seasoned with packet spice, served over crisp lettuce with all the fixings, created a fiesta in a bowl. The edible tortilla bowl made it feel like restaurant dining in your own kitchen. Everyone could customize their own creation. Extra cheese for some, hold the tomatoes for others. The combination of warm seasoned meat over cold, crisp vegetables was pure genius. Store-bought tortilla bowls saved time, but the adventurous cooks made their own by baking flour tortillas in oven-safe bowls. Topped with sour cream, salsa, and crushed tortilla chips, every bite delivered maximum flavor and crunch. Green Goddess chicken salad. This sophisticated salad elevated simple chicken into something worthy of a fancy luncheon, perfect for those elegant summer gatherings. The herby, creamy dressing made with mayonnaise, anchovies, herbs, and lemon created complex flavors that seemed mysterious and worldly. Served over crisp lettuce with sliced avocados and tomatoes, it felt like California cuisine before anyone knew what that meant. The pale green color looked as refreshing as it tasted, making hot summer days more bearable. This was the kind of dish that made hostesses feel accomplished and guests feel pampered. Some families served it as a main dish salad. Others used it to fill croissants or pita pockets. Either way, it brought a touch of restaurant elegance to home dining. Grilled teriyaki chicken and pineapple skewers. These Hawaiian-inspired beauties brought tropical vibes to suburban backyards across America. Sweet pineapple chunks caramelized alongside tender chicken, creating the perfect balance of savory and sweet. The homemade teriyaki glaze, sticky and glossy, coated every piece with incredible flavor. Threading chicken and pineapple required patience, but the results were restaurant quality. right from your own grill. Kids love the sweet pineapple surprise between bites of perfectly seasoned chicken. The glaze would drip and sizzle on the hot grates, filling the air with mouth-watering aromas. Some families added bell peppers or onions, but purists kept it simple with just chicken and pineapple. Served over rice with a side of grilled vegetables, these skewers transported everyone to a tropical paradise. New England-style clam bake. This coastal tradition brought the beach to your backyard, complete with lobster, clams, corn, and potatoes all steamed together. The ritual of laying out newspaper, cracking shells, and getting gloriously messy was half the fun. Drawn butter flowed like liquid gold while everyone compared techniques for extracting every morsel of sweet lobster meat. Even landlocked families embraced this maritime feast, ordering seafood specially for the occasion. The combination of briny clams, sweet lobster, and perfectly steamed vegetables created a symphony of flavors. Kids learned to crack shells and developed a taste for the ocean's bounty. The cleanup was monumental, but the memories were priceless. Nothing said special occasion quite like a full clam bake spread across the picnic table. Zucchini boats. When the garden produced more zucchini than any family could possibly eat, creative cooks turned them into edible vessels. Hollowed out and stuffed with everything from ground beef to cheese and breadcrumbs, they solved the summer squash surplus problem deliciously. Kids who normally refused vegetables couldn't resist these fun boat-shaped creations filled with familiar flavors. The key was scooping out just enough flesh to create a cavity without making the walls too thin. Popular fillings included Italian sausage with marinara, ground turkey with herbs, or simply cheese and breadcrumbs for the vegetarians. Baked until the zucchini was tender and the filling was golden, they made healthy eating feel like a game. Even the pickiest eaters would try just one bite of these cleverly disguised vegetables. Gazpacho. This cold Spanish soup became the ultimate refreshing dinner on sweltering summer evenings when hot food was the last thing anyone wanted. Fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers, and onions blended together created liquid garden goodness in a bowl. The bright, tangy flavors woke up tired taste buds while providing serious cooling relief from the heat. Making it required a good blender and patience. The vegetables needed time to meld their flavors together. Some families added bread for thickness. Others kept it purely vegetable-based for a lighter feel. Garnished with fresh herbs, diced vegetables, or a drizzle of good olive oil, it felt sophisticated and worldly. Even kids who claimed to hate vegetables would slurp this colorful, flavorful soup with enthusiasm. Chicken salad. This versatile summer staple transformed leftover roasted chicken into an elegant meal that worked for everything from lunch to dinner. Mixed with crisp celery, mayonnaise, and secret seasonings, it became the foundation for countless variations and family traditions. Some families added grapes for sweetness, others preferred chopped pecans for crunch. The key was using good quality chicken and not overwhelming it with too much mayonnaise or heavy seasonings. Served on croissants, stuffed into tomatoes, or simply over lettuce, it provided protein and satisfaction without heating up the kitchen. The best chicken salad came from families who roasted their own chickens specifically for this purpose, creating layers of flavor that store-bought rotisserie couldn't match. BLT sandwiches. These summer classics celebrated the holy trinity of bacon, lettuce, and tomato in perfect harmony between slices of toasted bread. The key was using garden-fresh tomatoes at their peak ripeness, crispy bacon cooked just right, and lettuce so fresh it still had dewdrops. The mayonnaise wasn't just a condiment, it was the glue that held everything together and added richness to balance the acid of the tomatoes. Timing was everything. The bacon had to be warm but not scorching, the toast needed to be golden but not hard, and the tomatoes had to be sliced at the last minute to prevent sogginess. Served with potato salad and sweet tea, BLTs were the taste of summer afternoons on screened porches. Each bite delivered the perfect ratio of all three components. Potato salad. This barbecue essential came in as many variations as there were families making it, from mayo-based to vinegar-dressed, chunky to smooth. The perfect potato salad started with the right potatoes, waxy ones that held their shape, cooked just until tender but not mushy. Every family guarded their secret ingredients and techniques like precious heirlooms, whether it was the addition of hard-boiled eggs, the type of mustard used, or the exact ratio of ingredients. Some preferred it warm, others insisted it needed to be thoroughly chilled, but everyone agreed it was essential for any summer gathering. The dish improved with time as flavors melded together, making it perfect for advanced preparation. Served alongside grilled meats and cold beverages, potato salad was the foundation of countless summer memories. Hamburger Helper stroganoff. The brown box with the red glove on it meant dinner would be ready in 30 minutes. Mom would brown the ground beef, add the pasta, and that packet of stroganoff seasoning. The kitchen would smell like garlic and onions, and your stomach would start rumbling. When it was done, she'd spoon it into bowls, and you'd blow on each bite to cool it down. The creamy sauce coated every piece of pasta, and the ground beef made it feel like a real meal. It wasn't homemade from scratch, but it was homemade with love, and that made all the difference in the world. Chicken and rice skillet. One pan was all Mom needed to create this complete meal. She'd brown chicken pieces in a big skillet, then add rice, water, and seasonings. Everything would simmer together until the rice soaked up all those chicken flavors and the meat fell off the bone. The kitchen would smell like herbs and comfort, and your mouth would water waiting for it to finish cooking. Each spoonful had tender chicken, perfectly cooked rice, and all those wonderful flavors mixed together. It was simple one-pot cooking that created something that tasted like it took hours to make, the kind of meal that made the whole house feel warm and welcoming. Tuna noodle casserole. Every American kitchen once knew the magic of combining canned tuna, egg noodles, and cream of mushroom soup into something greater than its humble parts. This casserole ruled supreme during the 1950s and 60s, when families needed hearty meals that could stretch ingredients and feed hungry mouths without breaking the bank. The dish emerged from the Great Depression era's philosophy of making do with what you had, but it found its golden age in post-war suburbia. Mothers would layer the mixture with crushed potato chips on top, creating a satisfying crunch that made children forget they were eating something economical. The beauty lay in its simplicity. No fancy techniques required, just honest ingredients transformed into comfort food that could feed a family of 6 for under $2. Chicken a la king. Chicken a la king represented the height of 1950s, entertaining elegance, transforming leftover chicken into a creamy, sophisticated dish that impressed guests and satisfied families. The dish typically featured chunks of tender chicken, colorful bell peppers, and pimientos suspended in a rich cream sauce that was spooned over toast points, rice, or biscuits. Its origins traced back to fancy hotel restaurants, but home cooks adapted it for their own kitchens, making it accessible while maintaining its air of refinement. The key to perfect chicken a la king lay in the sauce, a careful balance of chicken stock, cream, and seasonings that coated each ingredient without overwhelming the delicate flavors. Many families served it for Sunday dinners or when entertaining, as it could be prepared ahead and kept warm, allowing hosts to spend time with their guests rather than slaving over the stove. Corn chowder. Summer corn chowder captured the essence of the season in a bowl, combining fresh corn kernels with potatoes, onions, and cream to create a soup that was both rustic and refined. The best chowders began with corn on the cob, where kernels were carefully cut away, and the cobs were simmered to extract every bit of sweet corn flavor. This corn-infused stock became the foundation for a soup that tasted like summer itself. The preparation required patience, slowly cooking onions until translucent, adding potatoes to simmer until tender, and carefully incorporating cream without letting it curdle. Many families added bacon for smokiness or herbs from their gardens for freshness. The result was a soup that celebrated the season's abundance while providing comfort on cooler summer evenings when families gathered on porches and around kitchen tables. Macaroni and tomatoes. Long before boxed macaroni and cheese dominated children's menus, families served macaroni and tomatoes, a simple, satisfying dish that celebrated summer's tomato harvest. The dish combined cooked elbow macaroni with stewed tomatoes, often enhanced with onions, peppers, and seasonings that varied by family tradition. Some versions included a touch of sugar to balance the tomato's acidity, while others added herbs or bacon for extra flavor. The result was comfort food at its most basic. Ingredients that cost very little but provided substantial nutrition and satisfaction. Many families served this as a side dish alongside fried chicken or pork chops, while others made it the main course with the addition of ground beef or sausage. The dish represented the American ability to create something delicious from pantry staples, proving that good food didn't require expensive ingredients or complicated techniques.